Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 10 Soviet destroyer, Khabarovsk. It has 8 130mm guns, 10 torpedoes, 54 AA defense rating, a surface detect of 8.7 kilometers top speed, 45.1 knots, total health 22,500. For my modules, reduced crit chance on main armament, improved aiming accuracy, improved rate of fire, reduced the chance of flood and fire, improved acceleration, concealment. For my commander, basic firing training, expert marksman, last stand, superintendent, demolition expert, and advanced firing training. We're on the map north, and I really wanted to play this ship. It's a fun ship. It really is very fun. And I hadn't played it for a while. I think the last time I showed it was a month ago, which, if you consider how many ships there actually are in Notser, that means you're skipping over some, and I do apologize for that. But I only share entertaining videos, first and foremost. At least I think they're entertaining. You know, close games require some level of carry by someone, not just me. And there is some failure, which is good. It's healthy to fail, see what you've done wrong. And I went to try and capture A right off the bat. I mean, I had 45 knots as my speed, and look at what I see. I see an enemy destroyer. And in the moment, I don't put two and two together. I just immediately assume every single ship is tier 8 or above, and I don't want to be spotted for his teammates to be able to engage me. So I try and retreat from a tier 4 Soviet destroyer Notser, which I didn't realize at the time. I didn't put it together. I just thought, it must be a tier 8. That's not a tier 8. Tashkent is the tier 8. So I was just, doing my normal routine. I didn't want to underestimate the enemy. You never know what could happen. I have my AA on, which is very important as a Soviet destroyer. You need to provide some level of AA DPS, and it's pretty significant. So the enemy aircraft carrier did all of his attacks on all my battleships who recognized me. They were supporting me for the A push, and now we're caught in sort of an awkward position. The enemy is not at A, but the aircraft are, and they're doing a number on pretty much every single battleship that is close to A. I, luckily, fortunately, only took a little bit of damage. My steering was not knocked out because I do have last stand, but it was made a little bit sluggish from the module being damaged. I didn't want to waste any damage control. What if they decide to bomb my ship or torpedo it? You've got to be very careful, because that aircraft carrier could just decide in a split second to go after you instead of a battleship. So I head forward. I'm going to send my torpedoes. Unlike most of the line, you can actually use your torpedoes. 10-kilometer range. That's pretty good. And I notice there has to be an enemy right in front of me. It must be that enemy destroyer firing. And I sort of have the smoke ring that is protecting me. But did you notice it's disappearing right in front of my eyes? You can see the ring fading away, and that is a bad sign. The Des Moines has a line of sight. He is spotting for the destroyer that's in the smoke. I'm pulling back. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm just looking to get out of detected state from the Des Moines, and we do. He doesn't really fire on us. I think he was trying to go after a battleship, and keep that in mind. They're going after these guys. They need my help all the time, and I'm going to give it to them. The silence is over. There's no way. Oh, the enemy destroyer showed up too. And I'm going to try and set the Des Moines on fire. There we go. Also notice that I'm using the dynamic crosshair. It's honestly the first time or the second time I've ever tried it. So I apologize if I'm doing it incorrectly. My understanding is that it's 1-to-1 for a ship that is going 30 knots. And obviously you can extrapolate that, or you can change the modification if it's like a US battleship, a slow US battleship. So I'm firing AP, hoping to get some broadsides. He turns around, I change to HE, he's still burning. That either means he's already put out the fire or he's waiting for a second one, which is pretty bold for a cruiser. And oh man, this Tirpitz is going to take you out. Tons of torpedoes. This enemy aircraft carrier is really good. I think it's a tier 10. And it's really scary. So I'm just fortunate he hasn't decided to kill me. That's pretty much how it's going right now. We still have one friendly battleship up at the front. I'm still going to support him. They have destroyed the Tier 4, which, you know, who cares, right? It's a Tier 4. Somehow the Tier 4 got a kill. I don't know how he got a kill, but he got a kill. I'm going to set my sights on the enemy Yamato. And he's on fire, which is good. I did check my torpedoes. I could decide to send him. I don't know if I want to send him against him, though. I don't know if he's committed to backing up or going forward. You know, that whole ordeal. Honestly, I should have sent. If you really, truly consider it, Notser, sending is not going to do anything but have a chance to do damage, and you're absolutely right. That was my bad. But here is a good decision. Using AP against an enemy Des Moines, who is showing their broadside. The Soviet destroyers have a fantastic shell. Probably the best destroyer shell that's available. It does so much damage, great velocity, and just great damage in both HE and AP. And against battleships in particular, you need to set more than one fire. I know it's not easy, but it really is important that you force them to use damage control, go the 20 seconds of immunity or 15 or whatever, and then relight the fire. You're going to see a lot of damage stack up very quickly. And that's what we're trying to do against this guy. He's aggressively sitting in the base capture. Probably a very bad choice on his part. The team expected to push this flank. You notice the eastern side of the map pretty much dominated by my team, right? Everyone on their team is in the west. Their aircraft carrier, multiple battleships, multiple cruisers. Pretty much everyone decided to push this flank. And in doing so, you've got to play defensively. We are just racking up the damage. Now, I could comment, oh, we're doing 700, 800 points of damage. That's the only problem with the Soviet destroyer. It never stops, right? Constant damage. Oh, we got an enemy torpedo bound. We got to be careful. He could go after us, but it doesn't look like he's going to. I set a primary target every single time to assist my teammates with some DPS against them. And we lose a friendly. Shows a little bit too much of a side. But the good thing is that entire torpedo attack was already in an attack pattern. So the torpedoes completely wasted, and he even comments on it. Wow, that feels bad. That Ismo eating something right as my torpedoes hit the water. Yes, he attacked an already dead target. So that was a huge break for my team. Imagine if that torpedo strike was meant for the battleship right next to me. But I can't really consider it at this point. I've got to send torpedoes in. Yes, I know. I need to be better at torpedoes. It's not just a gunship. You're right. And, yes, the token knots are being pulled. I can't even believe it. Yes, you can. Everyone's just like, can't even believe it, huh? Yeah, can't even believe it. I was in a German battleship that will remain anonymous, and I ran aground, and I had about 3 people go, oh my god, my dreams have been made. I got to be in a game where Notser pulled a Notser. And I'm just going, you people are so hilarious. But you know what else is funny? This enemy North Carolina just has enough angle where I'm not penetrating as well as I can. And I see that he is even angling more. So I'm going to try and continue with HE, which should work better. I believe I saw a flame go out before, and of course that signifies damage control was used abruptly to stop it. So he's already got 1 fire, 2 fires, okay. 2 fires, it's just gonna stack up the DPS. It really is devastating if you can be in a scenario similar to this, where he is in a position where he really wants to avoid taking damage, but he can't avoid the HE damage or the fire damage, and everyone's trying to get the last shot. Someone else does. The friendly Abagi is dealing with a lot of torpedoes, and he's probably going to die shortly. We can't really worry about that right now. We have to worry about trying to stop the enemy's push on this flank. We only got 3 left, and I have just waded through all the devastation. You've probably seen, what, 4 friendly ships die around me, but I'm still alive. How long am I going to live? When is the aircraft carrier going to get the hint? You know what? I should go after the destroyer who has done almost 100,000 points of damage. Yeah, it racks up really quick. Now, we haven't gotten any torpedoes, but the fires, we got 14 fires at this point, right? He puts the fire down. Okay, okay. So we wait about 10, 15 seconds, and then it should relight and stick. If he's going to show his side, though, I am not going to complain at all, right? This could be a dream scenario. Oh, yes, there we go. One fire. Oh, is he still immune? He must have just barely been on the other side of that. Oh, come on, set him on fire. Again, just a little bit too much angling for AP. I know some of you are like, use the AP. There we go. That fire should stick. I send my torpedoes. Maybe he's going to come towards me. I don't know. Of course, I'm detected this entire time. You have to be comfortable being detected if you take up the Soviet destroyer line. It's not a bad thing. You're elusive. You're fast. It's going to force them to use salvos on you that they would like to use on something else. And he is definitely aware of me. I have at least one fire on him. I would love a second fire. There we go. He's moving away from the area of my torpedoes, though. And I think he actually wants to shoot at me. Yeah, he's staring right at you, Notser. Those guns are ready to go. So I pop my smoke. I earned Witherer, by the way. And look at this. He's showing a perfect broadside at this point. I'm going, is he for real? I'm going to switch to AP. And just look how fast we do it. By the way, the last HE sets him on fire. 3 fires. Just look how much damage. Well, it would help if you would hit the target, Notser. But look how much damage AP can rack up real quick. On top of all the fire. And we do get a kill. Finally. We've only done 135,000 points of damage this game. But we finally got our first kill. Look how many shells have hit the target. 433 shells. Only 433 shells. The aircraft carrier, he is just so frustrated. He just can't fathom why his team can't push against the mighty Khabarovsk. We set the target on fire. I believe he's put it out already. And he's showing a perfect broadside, so you know the deal. And thankfully, the last HE sets him on fire. That's going to stick. That's just a bonus. But as long as he's showing a broadside, oh, he's angling a little bit too much. Come on, Notser. Hit the target. We just nick him. We don't do actual real damage. I'm feeling a little dangerous at this point. So I'm going to move forward. I'm very neutral. Thin as a blade, right? It's going to be hard to hit. The distance that I am covering is the most that any ship in the game can cover. 45 knots in the water. Remember that. That is really hard to predict, especially when you don't see this ship enough. I see this maybe once every 10 games at tier 10. And he's just a little bit too angled, Notser. You got to go back to HE and actively maneuver. This is not recommended. This is racking up damage that I don't need to take. This is going to be an easy kill if I just would have stayed 2 or 3 kilometers further away. But you know what? I like taking damage. I like feeling a little lucky, okay? It brings a little bit of joy to my face whenever I get this close to the enemy. You don't see the whites of his eyes, and there's nothing he can do about it. And of course, it's been the whole case of the entire game. We do 90% of the damage in flood, fire, all that stuff, but we don't get the kill. Ugh. Well, let's try the tier 10. This guy has been a real pest. He's done a great job for his team, I'm sure of it. And I think his torpedoes are meant for me now. Which, honestly, they should have been meant for me at the very beginning. If you would have identified the largest threat. Oh, 6K. Oh, yeah, AP at the waterline, baby. He's dropped his torpedoes. I'm trying to angle him. Come on, I don't want to take an A. Oh, that was so close. Wow. We're in Confederate. He tried to crisscross us, but we broke out of one side. So the crisscross was irrelevant. But if we would have not had the chance to get out, I think we would have died. 100%. I can't believe how close that torpedo was. And here comes some dive bombers. This might actually hit me because I really don't have any way of avoiding it at this point. And it's just active maneuverability, predicting that they want to engage you. I would highly recommend you try and stay as fast as you possibly can in a destroyer. It is much harder to hit the speed of the destroyer than anything else, in my opinion. It's just so elusive when I'm in my CVs. I really can't understate this. If you've ever controlled an aircraft carrier and you see a destroyer going really fast, well, this is faster. Unless you have a tier 10, of course, then you've seen it. But I just can't imagine trying to torpedo a ship this fast. I have trouble with 35 knots and 38 knots. So I'd say the game went alright. We got Confederate Witherer High Caliber, 2 kills, just 2 kills. We did 2,580 base XP. I'm very happy that I held off or assisted in holding off the primary pushing flank of the enemy team. We did 184,000 points of damage, but look at that torpedo stat. All I'm going to say, I will be streaming on Friday, and it's going to start about 2 hours earlier than the previous one, which is about 4 or 5 hours after I launch my videos regularly. I will remind you tomorrow. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.